What makes the Mazdaspeed Protege so cool? I admit, I've always wanted one of these ever since I test drove one brand new off the lot. The Mazdaspeed Protege, shortened to MSP, was way cooler than what you might realize. Let's compare it to the Civic Si of the time. It had 10 more horsepower, 28 more pounds-feet of torque, this giving you 170 horsepower and 160 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, I admit, that doesn't sound very impressive, but that is not what makes this car so iconic. So 1,750 Mazdaspeeds were made in 2003. 600 of them were made in orange, and 1,150 of them were made in black. Okay, for some reason I've never seen a black one in real life, but I've seen every single other color. The black is the most common color in the Mazdaspeed, and I've never seen one. Kinda weird. But moving on. Halfway through the year, Mazda came out with another set of Mazdaspeeds. This is going to be your 2003.5. They made an additional 2,750 units. 1,100 in titanium gray, 500 in yellow, 500 in silver, and lastly, my favorite color, which is going to be the blue color, and they made 650 of them. Okay, so I didn't use the technical terms for the color names because yellow is yellow. It doesn't have to be like screaming yellow or sunflower yellow or whatever kind of yellow it is. It's yellow. So in 2003.5, they made some changes to the Mazdaspeed. They didn't give you the exact same car, just in a different color. They added a front lip to the bumper. They removed the fog lights, the rear wing. They took the sparkle pedals and shift knob, rebranded them to Mazdaspeed, and they changed the stitching on the inside, along with probably a couple other small little details. So with a grand total of 4,500 cars made, that actually makes it more rare than the Mustang Bullet of 2001. This is where things get a little interesting. Mazda basically built the car with aftermarket parts. Many of these parts and brands were available before and also, of course, after the car was built. These were parts that you can go in the catalog and actually purchase. For the consumer, this really felt like you're buying a car that was modified with aftermarket parts, not just some special edition from a manufacturer. So what aftermarket parts? Let's go over it. I know we've already mentioned Sparkle, but let's go over everything else. The wheels were 17-inch wheels by Racing Heart, a very popular brand of wheel back in the time. The car was lowered on Racing Beat lowering springs and was put on top of a set of Tokiko blue struts. Racing Beat also went ahead and designed the sway bars and the strut bar. This setup actually made an incredibly well handling sport compact car. Let's talk about the engine. The engine was a 2-liter. Then Mazda had Callaway go ahead and design a turbo kit for it using the Garrett GT25 turbo. Then they sent the exhaust out through a Racing Beat exhaust. And then in order to get the power to the ground, they recruited the help of Tokiji, Sadru, something, whatever, limited slip differential they made. Let's talk about the interior. Mazda did a great job designing the interior. They recruited the help with Sparkle. I know we've already mentioned that. And then they switched over to Mazdaspeed branded instead of the Sparkle name tags on the parts. Then they got Kenwood to hook them up with the sound system. 450 watts. The coolest thing I think about the sound system was the head unit. The head unit was the same type of head unit that you'd go to your audio parts store and buy. So why did I not mention the MP3? Because a lot of the parts from the Mazdaspeed was carried over from the MP3. No turbo. That's it. Do I need a better reason than that? So there is so much more that I did not have time to cover in this video. So what makes the Mazda Protege so cool? The Mazda Protege was not a cool car that Mazda made. It was a cool car that these aftermarket companies made for Mazda. I would like to thank the MSPE community for making this video possible. If you watched this far, you're cool. Hey. Anyway, thank you for watching. Aloha. Peace out. Check out the merch store if you want.